My name is Nkechi Idinmachi, and I'll say I'm multi-passionate. But of all the things that I do, being a private chef to my 2-year-old will be the most rewarding. So in my free time, I do marketing communications. I'm also the founder of Machi Foods, a food innovation company that is enabling food security, zero hunger, zero poverty by elevating the utilization of bambara nuts, a future 50 foods according to Unilever and WWF because of its environmental and nutritional benefits. My pregnancy was really beautiful. It was one of the most beautiful times of my life. I was really cute, if I'll say so myself. I barely had any episodes apart from the cramps, once in a while. But at 34 weeks, my water broke. This was 4 a.m. July 16 to 2017. We rushed to the hospital, they did all the tests, and everything came out negative. But I'm having a baby at 34 weeks. So they prepared me for delivery. I wasn't feeling anything. The only way I knew I was contracting was through the monitor beeps, the whole hospital thing. So that's how I knew I was contracting. They tried to make me push a few times, but the baby wasn't coming out. And before I knew it, they were rushing me to the theater. As soon as we arrived at the theater, I felt a pressure on my lower back. I told them, and they asked me to push, and my baby came out. It was a beautiful experience. Painless. I don't know how to explain it, but then that was the beginning of my difficult journey as a mother. We were in the NICU for 8 days, watching my baby being poked every 4 hours for blood tests or antibiotics shots. He went through a lot within that period, and they asked me to the only way I could help him was to provide my breast milk, and I did that to the best of my ability, expressing every 2 hours, morning and night, for the first 6 months of his life, And the joy of every mom, especially if you do the exclusive, is to finally get a breather when your baby is 6 months old. I can take formula and other food, but I was in for the greatest shock of my life. We tried formula and his skin erupted in hives. He was throwing up, he was coughing, all manner of symptoms. We rushed him to the hospital, and the doctor gave me the heartbreaking news: discontinue milk. How would you feed a toddler without milk, for God's sake? I mean, I couldn't fathom it. I couldn't imagine how it would be. But it led me to wear back my thinking and student cap. I took courses from Stanford School of Medicine on child nutrition and cooking. I read research papers from food tech thesis from several universities, just trying to find foods with similar nutrients as the one he couldn't eat. He couldn't eat eggs, milk, gluten, pineapple, peanuts, soy, name it. But the journey led me to Machi Foods, my current business. So for that, I'm grateful. And I think my tenacity, my strength, my willpower has also increased during this period, so it's not all woes. When my water broke, I didn't even know that was what happened. I thought I had peed on the bed, and I said to myself, Nkechi, you're about to be someone's mother and you're wetting the bed. What would you say to your child? Then I rushed to the toilet, I sat, and the water just kept gushing out. I took out my phone. Thank God for Google. That was how I realized that my water had broken. And I knew that from then onwards begins my motherhood journey. There was no going back, but from what I read. So I just calmly had my bath, dressed up, sprayed some cologne, and then went to the hospital. I didn't think there was any problem with him coming at 34 weeks. Maybe because I didn't have enough knowledge about Premie, I hadn't heard much about it. I felt that, oh, maybe he would just be small. In fact, I didn't even think that it was a problem until he came. And after a few hours of delivery, they hadn't brought my baby, and I was wondering, were they not supposed to bring my baby to me? The nurse came and said, where is my baby? She said, oh, don't worry, we're taking care of him. And I'm like, taking care of him? I mean, you're supposed to bring my baby to me. She said, when you're ready, we can take you to see your baby. And I was wondering, whoa, what's going on? In fact, it was at that time that I realized that something was wrong. Then when I saw him, my goodness, it was all red, it was so small. It was so small, it was so fragile, and I was scared for him. I didn't know what was going on. And they told me that he was going to be there for a few days until he gains the appropriate weight. So I asked them what I could do, and they said I should express and make milk available to him. So I did just that. Oh my God, I felt so helpless. I kept asking myself what I could have done better during my pregnancy days, what I did wrong. I felt helpless. I mean, it's one thing for you as an adult to be sick, but it's something else for a little, fragile, vulnerable baby that is all dependent on you to be there and in that situation, and there's nothing you can do to help. It was tough. Okay, so now my husband came 4 weeks earlier. He came 4 weeks later, and in fact, even before he came, he was always so apologetic. Oh, I should have gone with you. Oh, how are you doing? He was constantly calling to the point where I had to say, see, oh man, you're not helping me with this constant call, I need to focus. I'll make videos for you, but he did something that really touched me. When he landed in the US, he went somewhere, got me some things. When he came into the room, his baby was on the bed. He didn't even go to his baby first. He spent a little while with me, hugged me, asked how I was doing. Before he went to his baby he hadn't seen for the first time ever, It really, it showed me that he really cared about me, and he's been there all through this journey, which has kept me sane. He was calm, but I know that he was worried, he was anxious, seeing that his baby wasn't progressing as he should and all of that. But he was there. He was a father in every sense of the word, and I'm really blessed to be parenting with him. In the past 2 years, the journey has been tough. So from the feeding to the milestones, as a parent, you have, in fact, at some point I had to delete all those parenting apps from my phone, because at 26 months, right, you get an email, okay, Obi Idinmachi is 26 months today and he should be crawling, So it was a constant reminder of not his inability to meet those milestones, but my failure as a parent. I had to delete those apps, man, so that I can have some peace of mind, He crawled at almost 2. He walked at 2.5. His height is still not where it should be compared to other children his age. And even confess, at some point I stopped going to church because I have to take him to children's department on Sunday for Sunday school, and his class is 0 to 3. So you see children that were still in the tummy when he was a year old, already walking and pushing him around, and then people are asking you, oh, Nkechi, are you okay? You're not your normal self anymore. And I'm like, okay, it's not as if I'm not my normal self anymore, but you know that I'm concerned about my child. You don't know how to start the subject, so you feel sorry for me, you feel pity, and all you can ask is, why that's probably my disposition every other Sunday before that period of my life. But I mean, there's the elephant that nobody wants to address. So, it was really a tough time. Constant hospital visits, you go to the hospital, they do all those tests, put your child through all those tests, and then they tell you that everything is fine. In fact, at some point I was like, stop telling me everything is fine. Give me a name. Tell me what it is. Tell me it's some hypocrisy or whatever. Just give me a name. Stop telling me everything is fine, because everything is not fine looking at it. Looking at him. Yeah. On his first birthday, he was at the hospital with his blood being drawn to fill several test tubes. He's been through so much as a child. My husband, whose mother is a matron, a nurse, you know what that means? That, he gets injections on a regular basis. Oh, I have headache, he gets injections. He said that in his 30-something years of living, he has not gotten as much freaks as my son has in 2 years plus. I mean, nobody would understand. Nobody would. On the 24th of December last year, 2019, while other children were trying on their Christmas clothes, my son was filling test tubes with his blood, for a better way to describe it. Then I still remember that day vividly. He had slept after they took his blood samples. He slept off after crying, but we still had to do the bone age test that day, so we had to head over to the X-ray place. So we got there, and he had to, we had to stretch out his hands. So this boy was sleeping. He was tired. He had just finished crying. A sleeping child trying to stretch him out. It was just so difficult to watch. And I hope he forgets all this. I hope he never remembers all this. Nigerian healthcare system is terrible. Terrible. So one time, the only specialist we could see was at one of the general hospitals, and for this test he needed to carry out, we had to spend a night at that hospital. So the hospital is notorious for poor hygiene and all of that. So the plan was that we would get him admitted the night at the hospital's guest house. Then early in the morning, we bring him for the series of tests that he had to go through. We got him admitted. As soon as they got him admitted, they refused to let us leave the ward. They said we must stay. They said we must stay. That was how we stayed over in this hospital with huge rats. I'm not making this up. The rats were this big, running out from the wall. And I said to the nurse, "Oh, there's a rat there." She said, "There's another one there too. They are all part of the world. We are used to them." And I could not believe my ears. Then all through the night, I had to stand over my son to drive away mosquitoes with my husband at the door, because he said only one of us could stay. So my husband spent the night standing at the door, I standing over my son's bed, driving mosquitoes. Then the test day came. They had to do 5 tests, meaning that 5 tests in 30 minutes consecutively. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So I'll run to the lab, get the test tubes, bring them to them for them to take his blood, then take the sample to the ward, come back to my son. Then in 30 minutes, I go back to the lab, get the test tubes, come back, and all this time I have to leave my son alone with no nurse attending to him. They said, "Oh, don't worry, the other mothers there will take care of him." Yes, so most of the time, after they had just drawn blood from my son, he's crying because of the pain. I have to leave him there crying and run to the ward to drop. We didn't have a help. My husband had to go back to work. He was tough. So, dear parents, do all you can to ensure that your children don't fall sick. And it starts with proper nutrition. That's where it starts from. Just do all you can, because as long as we are here in this country, except you can afford to fly them out every single time they fall ill, they have a catarrh or something, then please, then when we signed up to one of the big private hospitals, that one was another experience on its own. The healthcare system is really messed up. It is. I don't know where we will start from. Let's just start from ensuring that we don't need them by staying healthy, doing what we can to stay healthy. Okay, so when I found out that he had all those allergies, I went online, I went on Instagram, I used all manner of hashtags looking for, some tips, some help. I didn't find anyone in Nigeria who was sharing nutrition tips or knowledge or education on child nutrition. The only help I found was from people abroad, but I couldn't relate because a lot of the ingredients they were using were either not available in Nigeria or were really, really expensive. So I said to myself that there must be alternatives. I mean, I'm Igbo. We have so much food. We have so much. I mean, you can eat one Igbo meal, one different Igbo meal, for several weeks, without repeating. So, I mean, are you telling me that all this food cannot meet my son's nutritional needs? So I started researching, I found research papers from University of Agriculture, UI, OAU, different places. I found that these foods that are also as nutritious as the ones those abroad are feeding their children. So I started making my son's meals with them. I remember one time I was invited for a TV. I started, using them to cook for my son. Make meals that a toddler can eat. Was sharing the recipes, the pictures online, and I got quite a lot of followers just by doing that. That was when it occurred to me that there are actually a lot of people in my shoes that are also looking for information on feeding their children. So because of this, I was invited to a TV show where the host was a child nutritionist. So I was so excited. Oh, finally, I'm going to meet a child nutritionist, someone who would either validate what I'm already doing or direct me in the right path, make it easy for me. I was so excited. I got there, I couldn't wait to tell her all about my son and what I'm doing and whether they are okay and what she would advise. Before I could finish that, I've been cooking for my son in my kitchen with Nigerian food. She said, "What? You are killing your child? You mean that you've been cooking beans for him? Cooking all those things, rishi in your kitchen for him? You are killing your child. He's only surviving now by the grace of God. For how long have you been doing this?" I said, 1 year. She said, "What? Just stop everything you are doing. See, that she has one milk like that for Premie, 25,000 naira. Like, it's actually 35,000 naira per jar, but she's going to give it to me at 25,000 naira per jar." Okay, my dear brothers and sisters, we all know how toddlers eat. So a jar of milk, which would last a week maximum, a jar of a week maximum for 25,000 naira. So on milk alone, I'll be spending 25,000 naira. The funny thing was that I actually agreed because I was already, too excited to meet someone, in that field who could. I agreed with everything she was saying. She gave me lots of packaged foods. When I left, I said to myself, wait, so you mean these packaged foods, because they've been scientifically designed for the body of children, for them to be able to absorb it? So you mean it's better than the food I make for him? I just couldn't understand. When I got home, I told my husband, he said, "Please don't put all those things inside the dustbin. I don't want to see I don't want to see any of them around here."
as usual, my husband, who is my voice of reason, most of the time, gave me the check I needed. If not for me, we'll be spending 25,000 naira on. I mean, you want the best for your child. They still give all your savings. You do it to save your child. So he knew how much I had read, he knew how much I had studied, he knew how much work I'm putting into feeding our child, and he didn't think that some packaged food from what I was doing. So I'm thankful to him for that check. So I started sharing these things I've learned online. I would help other mothers who are in my shoes. Feedback was really amazing. When I discovered Butterfly and shared it very well, they wanted to have it too. That was how much it was. Okay. One time someone came and said that I really must speech. Leave him, let him play with other children. Is it only you that have born Pikin? Are you just holding him? In fact, at that time, he hadn't really stayed for us over a year, and he hadn't really stayed for him. How do I tell her that? I can't leave him. Those children will push him down. It's not as strong as they are. Another time, a friend whose child is younger than my son. Whenever we saw them, her child will push my son around, hit him, and when I try to protect my son, she feels I'm blaming him too much too. And then they keep saying, it's only you that has had a child before. Please leave him, let him get strong, let him face. So until they, because at that time he was what's the word? He was always he wasn't assertive, he wouldn't fight back. You push him this way, he falls that way, push him that way, he falls that way. He wouldn't fight for himself. You take his toy, he just leaves you with it. I had to be left with him. Nobody else. They just felt that I was giving him too much. But other people said, give him milk again. Children overgrow these things. You were not there when we had the episode. You were not there. But you feel that it's in your place to tell me to give my son milk again because he needs it. You don't know that more than I do. I don't know. But I also was there when he had that episode, and I don't want him to go through that again. So see people who don't know the genesis of their journey, who are not there, fault your parenting and all of that. But I learned that they do know better, and two, that they actually care. It's just that they are not personality across in the right way. So recently I was having a conversation with a friend who saw my serious speech, who saw him a year ago and saw him recently. She said, Nkechi has been so much and that's such an amazing job. Oh my God, that's him. Let me just start using him as a point of contact to pray for our other friends who have autistic children and children that are behind the milestone and all of that. She said, no, now, these things you can't just go and tell the person or bring up the topic because you don't have anything feeling about it. I said, well, I know that you know that my child is not like other children. We both know this. So why don't we address it head on? Yeah, I think it's just best. Take them out for lunch. Say, Nkechi, can we go out sometime? Let's convenient for you. Then talk about it. I know that you know. You know that I know. I know that you know that I know. So why pretend like it's not happening? So do them a lot of good. Talk talking about learning in a friendly environment rather than saying it behind them and then someone encouraged to attack them. It's not fair. What has kept me sane, I would say God's word. Before my son came, before I gave birth, I got this scripture, Ephesians 4:16. God makes our whole body fit together perfectly, and as each part does its own special work, it helps the other parts to grow, so that our whole body is healthy and growing and full of blood. So I personalize the scripture for myself. God makes his whole body fit together perfectly, and as each part does its own special work, it helps the other parts to grow. So my son's whole body is healthy and growing and full of love, full of joy, full of laughter, full of peace. So that scripture really, God knew that this was going to happen. And he gave me that scripture even before the journey started. I knew that he has a plan. He has a plan for everything that happened. And he was there for me. He was there for me. He was there for myself and my husband. My husband is the most amazing human being on earth. He was, it's easy to say, is he not the father of the child? Why wouldn't he be there? But he had every reason not to be. He was the sole provider of the family. He had work to do. He made sure that he was there for most of the hospital visits. Most of them. All of them, maybe just one. He was there for all of them. He is so supportive. So there's God's word, there's a supportive husband, and there's family and friends who really check in from time to time.
So my advice to people who are in the same shoes is that they should learn as much as they can about this period of their child's life, whether it's nutrition, whether it's milestone, just learn as much as you can, because with this knowledge, you are able to help your child better. And question everything. Question even the professionals. Don't take their word for it, because there have been times that we would have made decisions that would have been fatal to our son, if not that we ask the question. I know most professionals in Nigeria don't like to be questioned, but please, for your son's sake, for your child's sake, just please ask. Also, whatever your faith is, just hold on to it. Hold on to your faith. Don't lose it. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe that Jesus died for us to be saved. By his stripes we are healed. I believe that healing is for my son. So those words from God kept me during this period. We are not completely out of it yet, but my son has made so much progress. Don't outsource his your child's growth, development, nutrition, whatever. Don't outsource it to people who don't care about you, to people who care all about the money. I'm not saying that professionals care all about the money. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is this: you have your child's best interest at heart. You alone. So don't outsource it. Whether you are a CEO, no matter what stage you are in your career, in whatever, this child is not going to be this way forever. It's a matter of 2-3 years, highest 5 years, and you have your life back. You don't want to have to regret in future. I've turned down a lot of things. I've turned down businesses. I've turned down opportunities, I've been seen as unserious. You can't explain to everybody, but do what you can for your child now. You can always, now I understand why they say life begins at 40. Now I understand. If you're 20, please go and marry and start having children. So maybe your own life can begin at 35 or 32. But if you're as old as I am, just relax. See, you see this money, we'll make it. You see this career, this glass ceiling, we'll break it. It's not going anywhere, well, except Jesus comes, or we die. Even when we die, it's gain. We shall go and now enjoy with Baba God in heaven. So really, don't pursue money so much that you outsource your child's care. Have help, have a cook, have your chef, have your driver, have all the domestic staff that you want to. But you see the primary care for your child, please be in it. That's my advice to you, so you don't regret in future. Dear mom who feels pressured by other people because of their parenting style, I'm just going to say this to you. Know your child. Understand your child's peculiarities and deal with your child the way you know best. The thing is this. As a mom, we are born with the innate abilities to care for our own child. In fact, to care for each of our children in the way that each of them deserve or need. Trust yourself. Leave naysayers, leave the people who think you're not doing a good job. Just leave them. Then make sure that the person who gave you this child is at the center of your life and your parenting. I feel that being a parent is such a huge responsibility. It's not just about raising a child, you're raising a generation. As in, the thing scares me, gives me goosebumps. So whatever I imbibe in this child, whichever way I raise this child, it's going to affect generations to come. My dear, you can't do it on your own. You'll be very proud. And sorry, pardon my French, foolish of you to think that you can do it on your own or that you can depend on people's advice to do it. Once you know God, once He's at the center of your parenting, you can trust Him to guide you, to direct you. Don't second guess yourself. Seek for professional help, seek for professional opinions and all of that. But always check them against God's word. Always check them against the voice of the Holy Spirit.